Well, hello, YouTubers, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitter. This is Katherine Johnson, servant of the Lord. I want to thank you for tuning into my channel. If you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up. If you really like it, subscribe. Well, I'm coming back to you today to give you another message from the throne room. And God asked me to revise the previous post I had posted on prophetic events for 2020. And he asked me to replace it with this post. And the title of this post is Remember September 2020. God said it is a time of sudden exposure, shock, and awe. God is showing me that for America and globally, look for sudden volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, erratic weather patterns. God said you're going to see more meteors, asteroids coming from outer space, hitting the earth. You're going to see dust storms when they make impact, and possible tsunamis. God said there's going to be in the political arena in November and prior to November, you're going to see political showdowns, charades, upheavals. You're going to see exposure of one of the candidates, God said, could turn this election in a different direction. Look for political election time fiascos. God said there's going to be exposure of a shadow government. God said local states are going to pass laws or they're going to propose laws for declaring their independence from America. God said look for House of Representatives and senators proposing or passing laws to suspend parts of the Constitution. God showed me back in March that there were some changes made to the Constitution during the shutdown, the COVID-19 shutdown. I'll get back to you at a future broadcast about that. God said with COVID-19, there is a mandated protocol that's rolling out right now. It involves COVID tracing. They have apps on our phones that they can trace us. The mandated protocols are going to violate human and civil rights. A lot of people are going to be told they have COVID and they don't. There's going to be more arrest, more people placed in FEMA camps, environments that are empty schools or former stores or former churches because they cannot stay at home. God said that there's going to be more arrests with this. People are going to be arrested. God said also to look for basically an exposure of this mandated COVID-19 protocol as being related to the New World Order or the beast system. It is going to come out. God said there's going to be emergence of a deadly virus also. It's going to be suspicious the way it comes about. There's going to be exposure that someone planned this, and there's going to be finger pointing to someone, and there's possible arrest that will be coming. God said with the Epstein scandals, the pedophile, sex trafficking, he said a list is going to unfold. Look for murders and suicides. 3 days ago, a judge had a home invasion that was assigned to the Epstein case, and some of her family members were killed. God said we're going to see more murders and suicides. God said with this Epstein scandal, it's going to uncover a lot regarding the dark part of our society, of rituals, human sacrifices, thrill kill parties, a lot of sinister events that this scandal has hidden. And it's involving leaders of the upper echelon in every aspect of our society. And this is globally, God said. So look for this. God said, look for more food shortages, food contamination. God said, even in medication, look for shortages and contamination. God said, look for water pills and sugar pills to pop up. God said, in the housing economy, God said, look for record evictions, foreclosures, a surge in homelessness, tent cities being built up, people moving from one state to the other because of the homeless situation, because of safety and health situations. God said there's going to be an increased defunding of the police in certain states, and this is going to result in lawlessness. God said, look for an emergence of warlords, gangs with factions rising up in certain areas. This is going to contribute to people moving from one state to the other because of this. You're going to see a lot of eruption of rage. God said, expect that. More uprisings, more protests, civil disobedience. You're going to see certain groups arising, the baby boomers, particularly going to start rising up and protesting. You're going to see large groups of young people, like gangs, going through neighborhoods, vandalizing cars, looting neighborhoods and towns. Look for that, says God. You're going to see the baby boomers in particular going to be protesting about insurance, how they're treated as seniors. There's going to be a change in how people view elderly in this time. This is a part of the New World Order. God said, look for that. They're going to rise up and protest. There's certain procedures and things that are not going to be done. There's going to be a cut in their insurance. There will be a talk in Israel. This is globally. In Jerusalem, there's talk now about someone that people in Jerusalem feel believe is the Messiah. God said the talk is going to increase. God said the Antichrist is here. He's on the planet. And this is a time he's going to emerge. God said you will know the time and season when this comes about. Now, he mentioned about the church separately. But before I get to the church, God said, look for with the uprising here in America and globally, you're going to see a civil, racial unrest, civil riots, racial riots. You're going to see possible revolution, a coup attempt, an establish of another government, in parallel to what we have. Now we're going to the church. God said, look for exposure, witchcraft in the church. Look for scandals regarding this. Look for church splits. There's going to be a great falling away. And these parishioners are going to talk about why they're leaving. They're going to talk about it publicly. They're going to expose a lot of the witchcraft that's going on in the church. You're going to see a sudden disbanding of a mega church due to financial scandals and others. So look for this. Exposure of apostate churches. You're going to see a lot of witchcraft, a lot of belief in Kundalini spirits. A lot of them are involved with Buddhist beliefs. And it's not made clear. But God said he's going to reveal the hidden side. He's exposing. He's turning over, exposing anything that has not been exposed. It will be revealed. God said there's going to be release of the names of the pastors on a FEMA clergy response list. It's a lot of them, God says. And they're part of a 501c3. And it'll explain why they've been quiet. They have not spoken. It will give you their full sinister plan. It will expose them. You're going to see suicides of some prominent church leaders. God said look for murders. You're going to hear about murders in the church. The death of leaders due to scandals. Either the pressure, they're going to kill themselves. You're going to see increased persecution of the church in this time. Church burnings, permanent shutdowns of churches by the government. You're going to see arrests of pastors, increase with that. Also, some pastors are going to come up missing along with parishioners. Some of them will never be found. Some of them will be found dead. More church burnings. I think I mentioned that. This is not to scare you. This is to prepare you for what's to come. The church is going to be under tremendous persecution from the inside out. God said, look for inside attacks. The church, they're going to turn on each other. God said, out of this is coming his remnant. God is going to redefine his church. He's pressing it. He's initiating a revival. He's bringing forth his remnant. God said, do not be surprised who they are. He said, they have my protection. He said, do not touch them. God said, set your calendars. All these events are for the rest of the year but look for September for a lot of them to come into fruition. God bless you.